today um, with advocate Amiee Conn. I think she's in the room. Let me see. I am okay, thank you. Hope you are good as well. I'm just trying to grab me because I'm pretty sure I saw her. And I did. There you are.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, sorry, I'm new to this whole joint.
I'm like half dead.
I feel ya. No, I feel ya. It's all good. It's just chill, be casual, hang out, talk about important things. I love it.
I didn't even realize what time it was. I'm like,
I know my allergies have been really crazy today, so I apologize if I sneeze halfway through this. I took my medicine, but you never know.
don't worry, my allergies are killing me. My allergies are, I think everybody's like,
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
yeah,
That's for sure. Woo.
You know, you've been a long-time advocate of Bullies Keep Out, and I know how passionate you are about the causes that we encompass here, but, you know, even more so outside of that, you're very passionate about advocacy and activism. And so I know you wanted to talk about bullying, but I know you also had you know, other things that you wanted to speak out on. So we'll start with the, you know, bullying and gradually get into the, you know, the conversation.
Sure.
So as far as bullying, you know, one of the things I always usually ask everybody to do and talk about is their, you know, their thoughts on it, their take on it, share their story if they've ever been bullied. Because I always feel that everybody has a unique perspective. Because bullying is much more complex than people think it is.
Mm-hmm.
All of us, you know, everybody's thoughts together on bullying really, I think, could, you know, help by everybody like putting their piece, their, you know, puzzle. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna let you start off there.
Okay, sorry. So part of the last part of that, my Wi-Fi went out or something, so I only caught part of it, but I got the gist of it. So I'll try my best. Yeah. Wi-Fi and technology. That's what we got today. Well, I think everyone has been bullied, unfortunately, is the truth. We all have had our own experiences, like you said, and they're unique to our own journeys and experiences. Some maybe more than others, some in many different ways, obviously. But for me, I guess my first bullying, like memory or experience that made me really doubt myself, really put me in a place of not good feelings or negative vibes. I moved as a child to Alaska when I was very young, and it was a whole different world from California, as we know. And being a new kid and being out of your element and not being accepted for just being a nice, caring person was a huge traumatic experience at that age, but also a reality check of this is real world, this is real life, and this happens to us all. What are we going to do about it, though? My mom was very big at teaching me kindness kills, as the saying used to go. And I always kind of have loved my life of just kindness is the best key for everything. Even if you are being bullied and put down, treat them with kindness. They don't know what to do with that. That's the powerful with, you know, option of doing, of making a choice instead of being a bully back and, you know, being an asshole about it technically. But recently I would say I had a weird one. I had a weird one that had to do with like QAnon. I'm sorry if I cuss on here. I'll try not to cuss. But QAnon stuff. That it was very personal. That I'd never. Usually, I have really thick skin. I'm like, okay, if you have something nasty at me, it sucks that you say it. Yeah, it hurts a little because I'm human. But I don't care if you're going to be mean to me. Like that's not good vibes. I don't deal with good vibes like that. I have a shield up real fast type deal. But this one was personal in the sense saying that, well, you must be a celebrity in Hollywood who supports, you know, pedophilia and baby eating. You eat babies, and just it was so ludicrous that I had to laugh for a moment and think, is this a bot? Is this for real? And it kept coming at me during this time, like a couple months ago, that I had to really take a step back and think, do I want to keep going down this route on social media, especially because this was a lot at a personal stake that had nothing to do with me, but had everything to do with me, because of who I am in the arts and what I do with it and where I live. Like, that was crazy. Like, I hate to using that word, but this was the definition of crazy, where I just thought, if this is a real person actually saying this on social media, that is a very disturbed person. And it made me realize I want to work even more then on social media when it comes to accountability and the issues we have on here, as well as addressing people who take it to the extreme like that. That's mental health awareness and education as well that we need to address. So it, yeah, that was, I would say, the recent bully online situation I've experienced, that really triggered me a little bit, but then made me want to work on it even more, if it makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And I mean, at the point that we're at, I kind of can't do or say anything on social media without being bullied.
Right. Yeah. For having an opinion, you're being bullied.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's being attacked. And I think there's this whole, I'm very big on accountability, but I'm big on accountability when it's warranted.
Mm-hmm.
Also big on everybody themselves accountable as well, but everyone just seems to be in this society right now, like going to everybody else. You have to be held accountable, and I'm the judge and the jury of that. So, but I feel like there's much of it, and it's being used as an excuse to police and attack. It's all like, well, this person has to be held accountable. Like, I think that there's times where it's a very important thing, accountability, but I think it's being abused. And
I can see that. I said I could see that, what you're saying.
Yeah, I just feel that it's being misused and abused at many labels. The word bully is being abused and misused. The word, there's times where just so many intense words being thrown at people that they don't deserve to be thrown at, and taking away the real problem that we have in society with all those issues. I think people run into strangers and they just don't about them. They just start throwing things at them because they something that they read into. So it's like a double-edged sword, because I do. I'm very big. I think it's important as well that you never to go down to being a bully, because obviously that and preach that, like, you never want to go down to that, that level that they are. Now, as far as your thoughts on, we all have a pressure point because we're all human beings.
True. Very true.
Right?
Yep. No shame in that. We're human.
I'm a Yorker. I have a temper. We all have tempers to an extent, I think. Some others. So, like, when somebody is getting intensely cyberbullied on a regular basis and pops and goes after people that's attacking them, I tend to not hold like water too much on that. And I want what's your thoughts, because again, even kids that even my nieces, when I was talking to them, they explained it as having like a boiling pressure pot that gets to a point where it overflows. And we're human, so you get to a point where you're defending yourself and you're so angry that you kind of like, you have an outburst.
Volcano. I've always said it was a volcano eruption, because you're just piling. All of a sudden, I can't take it anymore because I'm human. You explode. And unfortunately, sometimes it's on the wrong person or the wrong people, or on yourself in the wrong ways, And I think in our culture and society, we need to start looking at really self-care first and foremost, like self-love, really being better on ourselves, really allowing ourselves to have days by the pool and enjoying that, or whatever it is personally for you to relax, whether it's 10-minute meditation each day, because we all are human and we all pop at some point. That's just your body and your mind are doing that for the better, because it cannot take everything. It cannot take the weight of the world literally on your shoulders, especially if you're a very caring, empathetic, sympathetic person. Like you're feeling a lot of that right now in the world, in today's society. But yeah, it's a lot. You got to breathing, like we talked about, breathing exercises. That's huge. Just really self-awareness, because we've all been there. I've had dear friends who are no longer friends anymore that I'm sad to have lost, but they were pressure cookers. They wouldn't take care of themselves and would gaslight me or like throw me under the bus or backstab, just stuff that we experience as humans in our whole span of life with people and relationships. But if they had taken time for themselves to really check in, know what you're feeling, talk to someone, whatever it may be, again, mental health awareness and education, that could really be more beneficial for people to not be pressured so much to then be negative at each other. Or it feels like it just is a connection dot after connection dot, that if we could solve it from the beginning of the foundation, it would be helpful for the other dots along the way that become what is bullying or hating on or whatever, you want to put the label on it.
Right. Well, there's always a root cause of everything. And,
Yeah.
Especially this past year, I think a lot of us have just had it a lot of us saw, I think there was a lot of true colors seen, not only on social media and within the news and the media.
Right.
Plus, we have in our personal lives. I mean, there were people that I left in 2020, and I feel like even though the pandemic will not be over, I do not want to keep over year after year with the same problems. I think we had a lot of time to self-reflect during this pandemic.
Yes.
And in a way, self-care and self-love and be forced to, because we didn't have any other choice.
I know, right? Yeah, it was a crystal clear vision of like 2020 not being what we thought it was, but we kind of got to see who was who and how we reacted to situations. And and I think that's very key and important. We don't have to bring everybody in our life along the way. There's people that come in and out to learn from, grow from, and that's beautiful, and keep those memories, I mean, but know your boundaries and your self-worth, and know that saying no or saying this no longer serves me or you, so I'm not going to be fake about it and be two-faced. I'm going to say this isn't working and I'm done, and that's self-love, but also love to you, to say, you go find what you need now, because we're not serving each other well, and that's okay. We don't have to hate on each other and bully each other or whatever. I'm sorry, I have so many like memories and stuff that I'm thinking, I don't want to say exactly, but you don't have to bring yourself down further because someone else is not seeking the self-love that they deserve. And I'm not listening. I think another thing is we communicate, right? This is one thing I love about the social media platforms we do have. There's a good and pros and cons. I love that we can talk about these things and hopefully, normalize the conversations and destigmatify everything. Like, we really have that opportunity, but use them for get out hurting each other with the opportunity. And like, you know what I mean? It just, again, it depends on how you use the tools we have, because we have the tools more than any century has had to communicate properly with each other. But we have to choose to communicate properly, be uncomfortable with that communication sometimes, and really learn to listen to each other, not just always do the talking. And I can't emphasize that more, as much more, but that's always just something that's on my brain, like really listening to each other.
Well, I a lot of
Oh, sorry, Dana, your audio's in and out. I can't hear you. It might be mine. I'm sorry if it is.
this happens. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, a little bit better. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
No, I'm just saying, I think that we're doing much, we're not doing, they say amplify this voice, amplify that voice. And, lots of people out there trying to talk, but I think so many people trying to over these people that nobody's You understand what I'm saying? There's a lot of talking being done, but there's not a lot of listening and action because everybody's in there with like over each other and this and that and their
Right.
opinions know better and they're arguing and this and that and it's like, hey, but you do your thing and everybody does their thing and you know,
Mm-hmm.
I said it's like a double-edged sword. It's beautiful in ways, but it's also negative.
Yeah. Yeah. The irony is that your sound is going on and off, so we're all trying to listen to you and hear. We're hearing bits and pieces, so I am listening. I am hearing, but the point you're making is so true. Yeah, I mean, especially like as an example, listening to things on Clubhouse as we keep going on. It's awesome. We're listening to everybody, but I also feel like everyone just wants to talk. Everyone really wants to just get it out. And good, you want to express yourself. We need to express ourselves, everyone of us in these days, but you need to find what works for you, and like artwork or writing or speaking on Clubhouse, making your own clubs to talk about things you're passionate, like that's great. Create with uh the intention of listening and learning, right? But I think we have to be careful not to be each other's therapists when we're not therapists either. Like, listen to each other as human beings that are also going through things that we're living and experiencing, human beings, because we feel like we're always alone in things. But guess what? We're not. Everyone is going through something, and we can relate to more than one person, thankfully. But we have to talk about it and listen to each other, not just talk over everybody, like you're saying. It's a balance. Like anything in life, balancing, moderation of everything. But that's checking in with yourself and checking in with each other, and self-reflecting and critical thinking, asking, am I doing too much, too little? Should I just listen more? Should I talk more? And, really checking in with yourself what feels right and going with that intuition.
Absolutely. Where authenticity, I tend to feel a lot of um, a lot of I saw very much people on and
Sorry.
and that got to see who they were.
Can't hear. I don't know what's going. So I know. I'm sorry.
Now it's Instagram.
Oh, I can hear you now, but it's like every other word. So
I
I
don't
think the audience can too.
what's happening on your side. I don't know.
It. I hear you every like 3 words, and then it goes silent. So I'm like piecing together the sentence, trying to.
We're not gonna
We
mind.
need subtitles.
I have subtitles, but if it doesn't hear any of us, it's just gonna make up the subtitles.
Now I can hear you. So I'm not. Yeah. And hey, roll with it. It's that day.
Instagram. One area, like I said, I was talking about authenticity a little bit, and I was saying I think we really got to see a lot of authenticity in people. Wasn't was, and
Yeah.
a lot of facades.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of part of the issue.
Yeah. And I get survival mode. I mean, look, the pandemic happened. We never thought in a million years we'd be in. I thought I'd be in a film about it more than a real life in my lifetime, to be honest. Like, it's crazy. This is a script of the making, but it is reality. So I get that people, there's some people who just reacted wrong in ways because they were surviving, but doesn't mean it's the right survival mode, and to acknowledge that and learn from that as well, because nobody was prepared for this gigantic craziness that has affected all of us in our lives. But there's also ways to handle things and learn from than more than others did, and that's what I grabbed from some of my experiences losing those people, is that I'm sorry that you went that way and that happened to you, but I would never have treated you that way. I would never have you know, like, and I can't say that I'm better or not, but I'm just saying that's not going to work for me because I never would have put you in that place in a million years. And that's my truth. And you got to find your truth, you know, and stick to it.
Well, I think we all have our truth. We don't about when our life are fully
Mm-hmm.
like so much of our lives is put on display. So many different sides when it comes to self-love and self-care. People, what's right, what's wrong, and grasp that they're right and their way is right and their right and perspective is right. In reality, those things are not right or wrong because number one, perspectives on something.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fact that everyone.
Right.
So this person is this, and I don't even really know the person, but I'm
Right.
they're there. But you know, and one thing I see a lot of too is critical behavior. I don't know if you've seen it, but like for
instance, I can't stand it, but I try to be very understanding as much as I can. But yes, yeah.
So for instance, let's use an issue with women that I think you I know you're very passionate about when it comes to women. A lot of, you know, we stand up and we speak out as victims of many things, and it's always believe the victim. And we always say, you know, on social media, I see a lot of don't sexualize women, don't do this, don't do that, because it's becoming a point where people are seeing that it was getting overboard. Now, the way I see it, and you know, you can tell me your thoughts on it. I see a lot of women sexualizing and women themselves and harassing or stalking or, you know, ageism, classism, or being inappropriate. So, and feel it's okay because they're a woman and they're doing it to another woman, but they chastise men for that same behavior and call it sexual harassment. Or you're being sexist, or you're being abusive, or stop sexualizing somebody. And it's like, but if you're doing that on your own timeline, you think it's okay because you're a woman doing it to a woman, but it's not okay because it's not okay for anybody to do. But in order to point and show that, oh, it's not okay because you're a man, it's okay because I'm a woman doing it to another woman. And I'm sitting here like, no, it's not okay across the board. It's not okay because you're the same sex.
Right.
Some of what I'm talking about, it's one of the areas and arenas that I see a lot of hypocritical behavior.
Yeah, there's a lot there. I mean, I think women in general have been conditioned so much to think one way, especially about ourselves and our bodies and how we identify to that with our sexuality or femininity, et cetera, et cetera. But then we either don't support other women in certain ways too, because it's competitive, but you're preaching to always be women supporting women, but then you're acting out. So yeah, I get that. And I think sometimes it's complicated. Some people aren't aware that they're doing it. Subconsciously, at least they are, but they don't really, you know, and then there's intentional because it makes themselves better. And again, it comes down to mental health. It's like, if we could address things to understand that that's never okay because of X, Y, and Z. And to be always aware that we're always learning and always growing because we don't know everything. We're trying to educate each other, understand each other, but still have, you know, defending ourselves in the right ways too. So it's always complicated. But yeah, I agree with the fact that we're trying to be more and more, I feel, in the last decade even, of honoring our bodies and honoring who we are. But you have to be real about that too. It can't just be one certain type of body or one way of this or that. And I see that a lot, maybe just in the industry here, possibly too, it's part of that. But it always makes me wonder, like, what is your real intention behind that? You know, like, what I always like to say, and a lot of people, my friends are always having fun with it, but is queen love. I mean, that's for everybody. It's not just women, but it started with the whole idea with women supporting each other. Queen love. I love you, queen love, you know, like that type of motto of just, we we'll only be better when we rise with each other. You're not my competition. I'm not your competition. And we don't need to address that to each other all the time, being catty and talking behind each other's backs. And then on social media, like you're saying, putting that in the way that you just said. And then also, if someone doesn't like it, you have the the option to get off that page or let that be. But I get really frustrated when I see fellow friends even that are putting those photos out there for the attention of it, not for the actual reason of owning their bodies and owning themselves. Because it starts inside. As cliche as that may sound, it starts inside to be able to address and love that for others as well. And we have to honor each other. We can't keep fighting each other on this shit. It's just ridiculous, especially in the 21st century. So I think that there just needs to be a lot more conversations about that, especially on social media. The double standard, the over-sexualization, the followers are more than just, the intent, the content itself. I mean, that just drives me up the wall these days. So yeah, I think the only thing we can do to change anything is, again, talking about it so that we can bring awareness to it, like you're saying, and also address it so we get the message across. That's not okay to do because of X, Y, and Z.
Right. This is what I'm saying, and that's why I feel it's so important, because I feel that a lot of people do not actually know what the definition of feminism actually is.
Right. I think they have their own reason for each one.
All men, and it's like no.
Right.
Yes,
my boyfriend is very feminist. Okay, he's a big feminist, and I'm so happy he is because he's awesome. So it's like, no, it has nothing to do with the actual gender. You know what I mean? Like,
it doesn't. I know
at all. It's the mentality. It's I can't even talk right now because I'm so passionate about it. But it's the foundation of what is it about? What is it about? Feminists. We as a people come together to talk about things that matter because we are not equal to what we're supposed to be equal to in this country, in this world, as we are, but we don't get treated as such. And that and it's been going on for how many centuries? Like, it's just facts. That's fact. That's historical fact. And we have to address those facts. So
this is what I'm saying. It's like, I know many men that are feminists, like true feminists as well. And this is why I'm saying that, I feel like the definition of it has gotten lost because everyone has their own definition of feminism. Okay, so we have a comment here from Cheryl Wynn. Sarah agreed. Us women complain about being looked at like sex objects, but so many women do it to men, which is true, and they do it to other women. They write men some awful sexist things and they feel good about it. And this is what I'm saying, like they're right, because you have to, if you're gonna preach all these rules and all these things as a woman, you don't get to do it to women, which is the same sex, the gender, like they're saying women, but then they're doing it to other women. Or you're doing it to men while you're also yelling at men and condemning them from that behavior. And this is where I'm saying critical, I don't really know what, really feminism really is. And they think it's all about women, and hate everybody else. That's really not what it is.
Yeah. No. I mean, I think, well, first of all, I think we really need to get back to the point of that words matter. Like language, not, I'm not just saying English, but language matters. And we need to honor and respect what languages actually bring to our societies by actual definitions. I mean, the last 4 years has proven that if we don't hold that accountable, then people make up their own definitions of words that make them facts, and that's not what that is. We have to base it in truth, in legalities, and like the actual definitions of what these words are until they become a different word, maybe in like 400 years, because Shakespeare #2 made it happen. Like that's different. It's urban lingo that changes over time. That's part of history. But right now, our language matters to use those words in the right context that they're supposed to be made for. Like you're saying, feminism, that's just a lot of question marks for a lot of people, or they've heard it this way, or they think it's that way, or they think it's just that women who hate men, or that women only like, you know, women, like just supporting each other. We don't need fucking men. We don't even need them to have for, you know, babies anymore. So why do we, like, come on, like, of course they're human beings. We're all human beings. We have to get to the point of that. And at the end of the day, ask yourself, how would you like to be treated is always the helpful guidance, I think. Do you want to be treated that way? So why are you doing it that way if you're preaching or talking about it that you don't like that being done to you in the first place? Whatever the subject is, you know?
And yeah, and that's my point. That's where the danger is coming in, because it's dangerous to label people, especially when you don't know them. But I think it's dangerous in general. Like, the word bully is thrown around really and incorrectly so much, and that's not bullying. Like, I don't care if you fight with your friend every single day. That's not bullying unless they're bullying you.
Right.
Like, I mean, there's so many different examples I can give, but people will come to me very perplexed and confused, and, well, this happened and this, and then I'm like, okay, that's a bit like a business disagreement. That's not really bullying.
Yeah. It might have felt like it, but it's not really the definition of it. No, that's true. That's very true. No, it gets, and then that takes away from the actual bullying that matters in today's world. I mean, everything matters, but I'm saying in the sense of really shining light on the things that are very dangerous and very serious. It's like crying wolf sometimes, you know, until the wolf actually is there and then it's too late. I mean, that's just unacceptable. So yeah, we have to, I think, I've told my friends that if I say something wrong, because I'm genius at always making new words up, I'm just very creative, but doesn't mean I need to use them all the time like that. If I'm saying the word wrong, pronouncing it wrong, we've even had this on when I talked to Francesca that one time. She was like, we don't do it because it happens. We sometimes don't know how to say the right word or the way it goes. But calling each other out doesn't mean it's bullying or mean. It says, hey, I love you so much. I want you to know that that's not how it's pronounced. But it's cool that you thought that was a creative way to say it, right? Because we need to bring it back to what is it actually that we're communicating, and not having any, you know, mistake about it, and misunderstanding each other because of a word that you thought was this word meaning and I thought it was this word meaning, you know?
Yeah. And this is where I'm saying, where people don't realize, people are like, oh, bullying is bullying. And I'm like, no, bullying is not bullying. It's more of a complex subject than people think. It's different. Just health. There's a very expansive, there's no real set, there's a definition, but there's nothing set in stone because it's so expansive. It's very diverse.
Right.
Everybody thinks differently. Bullying is different for the LGBT community than it is for someone else. Just like mental health is different for the black community than it is for the white community or the Latino and Latina community, Hispanic, you know, and religion, whether you're Christian or Catholic, everything is different for race, religion, culture, background. And it's not just, okay, we're going to talk about this as one basic whole and we're going to fix everything, because we have to make sure that we're being diverse in our arguments, in our fights, in our advocacy, in our activism. It's not just like mental health is not just this basic slate where it covers the same, and bullying is the same thing, and so are all other causes. It's just not one cover. One size fits all.
Right.
You know, it's not one size fits all, and people treat it like that, and that, you know, and that's nuts, because it's like, no, it's not. Every problem cannot simply be fixed. And like, oh, I'm going to speak about this. I'm going to speak about this, and that's going to cover everything. Which is why I speak about so many diverse topics.
Right. No, for sure. I mean, that's the beauty of our country that I wish more and more people would see, is the diversity we have here. And historically speaking, up to even this point, obviously. And that's such a beautiful thing that we have. You know, there's so much potential with our society here, and up to this point in going into the future of all the craziness happening. But we have to really, I can't say it enough, stop and think, what's it like for somebody else in somebody else's shoes? You may not agree with it because it's not happening to you. It doesn't mean it's not happening. Doesn't mean that that's the right or wrong way. It means that it's happening to somebody else, that you need to stop and think, I wonder if that was happening to my family or me or my friend or whatever, how would I react? How would I feel? What would I think? If I didn't have the support team I have, well, how would it feel? Like, just thinking outside the box in that way really opens you up to understand at least a smidge of what other people are going through, and their stories and their experiences matter just as much as yours. You know, it's unfortunate that we're so close-minded sometimes, and I think, again, just being open to talking about it is one step forward, but it has to keep happening. We can't just, we'll talk about it for a day and then let it slide. Like, it's so complicated, and that's all okay. It's good it's complicated, because that means there's so much diversity out there, but we have to be open to that and listening to those diverse things,
Yeah, and that's why I always talk about how important it is to keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
Not done bullying awareness and mental health awareness month and suicide prevention awareness month.
Right. I mean,
Those
tell me
went out
about it.
Pandemic anyway. Nobody even, like, we did a bunch of stuff here, and I was like, why is nobody talking about this stuff when it's at its worst right now?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it seems to me like it should be common sense. I know common sense is not really around anymore per se, but I mean, if we take care of our bodies so much, and there's always a big thing about physical care, why is internal care not so important? Like, it makes sense to really address that for each other, to understand the behaviors of everybody, the complications of the psyche. Everything adds up, especially when it's under pressure of real life without support, or real life under a freaking pandemic. I mean, it just makes sense to me, but it's mind-boggling that a lot of people choose to be stuck in their ways of not addressing the obvious elephant in the room every single day, it seems.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, there's so many arenas to cover. That's why I keep having the conversations, and I have the even on Clubhouse, because it's a little bit more personal. Where you started the club there, because it's a little bit more personal to actually hear each other's voices rather than typing. Because typing, and I've always said this, and I still say it, whether it's email, text, 142 characters on Twitter or whatever post on Facebook.
Right.
You are not hearing tone. You are not hearing, like, the emotion and or empathy and understanding someone's voice. And it goes like 18 different directions, and then you gotta fight.
Yeah. Yeah. I love Clubhouse for that exact reason, for listening to each other and hearing each other's inflection and tones, and really talking, or FaceTime like this, really talking with each other. I'm not a fan of texting unless it's to the point, which is what it's meant for. We've had this conversation before where, I've had relationships end over a 12-page text, and I'm like, okay, that's not going to work for me if that's how you communicate. Sorry. We need to look into that, because not everything needs, I get writers. Okay. I understand, like, a long email, like, I'm going to explain to you because I feel better. That's how I can communicate, because everyone has different ways of showing love, and different ways of communicating. But it's about, okay, this is how, knowing how you communicate, and then addressing it to someone, especially if you're in a friendship or relationship. This way doesn't work for me because of X, Y, and Z. I communicate this way. I need to hear your voice. So can we please find a compromise, or find a balance, moderation of something, to be able to do that properly, so this is a healthy relationship. I think that's fair to always ask of friends or relationships that are romantic or whatever. But this whole texting thing it's too much. It needs to stop. And then especially in social media, where it's like these texting wars. And I've been guilty. I'm human. I've done it, where I get really passionate about something, and then I look at myself, I'm like, why did you waste that energy? And I hear my sis say, why are you wasting that energy? When you can put that energy on something that's really going to make it work and actually probably add something to the universe. And so you just, you take yourself accountable on that. And accountability isn't always bad accountability. It's just saying, self-aware. I'm not going to do it that way next time.
It's just a matter of wanting to actually take the accountability. It's like being responsible.
Yeah.
And I find that a lot of people do not. But
yes, that's very true.
We're all guilty of it to some extent, but there are a lot of people, and a lot of the times it's bullies, and sometimes it's not. It's just people that are not able to. They get defensive, and they just. It's very easy to point the finger at other people rather than just say, "All right, my bad." You know,
yes.
my
right.
To tango. It's very rarely one-sided. All right, you say your bad for your part, I say my bad for my part, and it's like we have a conversation. Look, I have friends that like absolutely hate talking on the phone. So when we talk text, because they hate it, they like this person or this, and I respect that because I'm not gonna force somebody to get on the phone if that's what they because they don't. Of course. But when you have a real problem where you need to have a discussion, and it's just going to possibly ruin a friendship if you don't talk and listen to your voice, and you can't see each other because maybe you live in different states, whatever.
Right.
You have to find a way to either Zoom, FaceTime. I don't even care if you use train. Like, find a way to talk, because it's just never going to end well with text or email.
Some people, agreed. Some people like to just be swirling in their drama. You know what I mean? Like, it's easier to be in their drama and just kind of swirl around. It's like, okay, we come around to talk about it. Okay, we're good. We're good. Oh, this is coming up again. And it's just like this whirlpool. Actually, I'm trying to find whirlpool feeling that's like, no, if we have a problem, I want to address it because I care about you. And I want to address it because I care about me, and I want to find what we can fix to move forward as soon as possible and address it properly so we don't have to deal with that again, and we learn from it and grow from it. But a lot of people don't want to grow. It's scary. It's uncomfortable, the uncomfortable feeling of addressing things that they need to address, but they're not willing to. And that only makes it worse. You can't sweep things under the rug like that. It does not work that way. It will come back and haunt you in some way. Or like you said before, a pressure cooker, volcanic eruption, in the wrong place, the wrong time, that could be very, very harmful or serious in some ways. And that friendship could end, or that relationship, or whatever. But yeah, it just reminds me of sometimes that, like, in the past I've had experience of that. If you had just found some way of communicating, we could have fixed this, and this could have just all gone away. But because you chose actions, because actions are louder than words, I believe, you can't just do the talk. You got to show it with actions. And those actions sometimes show exactly that you don't want to deal with it. And that's going to be more of harmful to me and keep pricking me because I care enough to stick around after 1, 2, 3, 5 flags. And now it's time to let that go, because we need to go opposite directions, because that's the best for both of us. It's really not that hard. Like, yes, media, it's not. It may feel really hard. I agree with that, but the action is not really that hard. You just need to work on yourself and choose it. As much as that means,
Somebody made a comment here even about using voice memo. I mean, it's better than. Better.
Oh. No, sorry, I can't.
Oh, okay.
I just went into Clubhouse on accident. Sorry. These damn notifications. Am I frozen now? Can you hear me?
I'm like, why?
Oh my goodness, this day.
Wait.
Back in.
I'm frozen.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay.
I can hear.
Can you see me now?
Can you hear me?
Oh my goodness, this is my phone's acting up. I can hear you.
I can hear you and see you.
Okay, well, as long as that works. Okay, cool. It just is weird. Anyway, what I was going to say, it reminded me, I went out. Oh, tech age.
No.
I mean,
a minute ago you went out and you were frozen. Now you're back.
Okay, then I'm going to talk. Cool. Thank you. Jeez. I was just saying that in today's age, it reminds me of that scene from that film with everyone in it. Oh my God, my friend's going to kill me with this. It's basically a dating film from the 2000s with everybody in it. But there's this clip that there's an actor that says, you know, I just got really confused because he called me, but then he left a voice message, but then he emailed me, but then he texted me and I texted him back, but then it was too like we have, meaning that we have all this technology in our literal grasp in our hands, and we don't know how to communicate with each other. Like writing letters back in the old days was a better way of communicating because we longed for the communication, we looked forward to the communication, and we got across what we need to get across in the letters more than we do in a 12-page text sometimes. I don't know what to do about that other than really kind of, again, find the balance of both worlds, because over communicating does not mean communication.
Well, yeah. Debbie here said, don't blame the pandemic, but it's becoming easier to text than speak. I get the message can be misconstrued and feelings are not conveyed. And or somebody gets too angry and you're just going like this and you're not really saying. And that's another issue with
Right.
texting. You get so angry that we're really just like texting and not reading what the other person's saying. We're just like, oh yeah. And
Yeah.
like,
yeah, to the three dots, you're like, I'm gonna finish first. I'm gonna finish this conversation first. Like beating it to it when you're not even hearing them out or each other out. Yeah,
or
it's
dots, like they're dots. My favorite is the three dots for like 12 hours, and then all of a sudden, back 3 words. And I'm like,
right, yeah, because it's erase, 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 erase. I mean, maybe not, but yeah. Well, yeah, yeah, it's crazy. It's just too much.
In a pandemic world, we were saved a lot by technology because we couldn't see each other. And I'm all for it. I love social media for a lot of reasons. I like to, what I do, why I'm on it. I'm not on it for credit or to promote myself. I'm on it for causes, charities, and to help people and give back. I don't need to make it what to do about it and all this type of stuff. I do other things on social media, in other arenas outside of what I do for work. Everything I do like 100 different things outside of my careers.
Right.
So, you know, like, but you get to a point where I have backed away from social media a lot because it was for my mental health and for my well-being. Mm-hmm. I was like, you know, I appreciate it for what it is for human interaction, but there's also FaceTime, there's Zoom. I just can't be in this world that is so, the energy is so off. And for somebody that's an empath like me and that feeds off of energies and sucks and takes people's energy, I'm holding my own energy and then I'm taking on all these other energies. And then you're like completely off balance. And it's just, it's been, social media in a lot of ways has become extremely toxic. And, you know, no matter what, how much we feel we have control over it, I every single day, and I see things that upset me. And I'm like,
right. Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm done. Like,
I know. I mean, I feel the same. I read energies too. I feel it when you walk into a room, whether it's physical or visually now, you feel it. And you feel drained after a long day. And it's beautiful that you do feel that energy from others. That's very real. But you also have to know your boundaries of able to take time for yourself. Exactly that reason, you know, you can't, trust me, like I would love to be on it all the time to talk to people. I love connecting with people. I really, really love that. But you have to take time for yourself to decompress, literally, of the energy. And not let that eat you up because it's so easy to.
Yeah, absolutely. Lydia's asking, how do you deal with it? I mean, my personal way of dealing with it, I had deactivated my Twitter at one point for a very, very long time.
Right, I remember you doing that. Yeah, that's smart.
And I did recently, stupidly, probably go back on, but I'm only using it for like certain specific things. I am not scrolling filtered out. I have protected my account. I filtered things a lot, and I do meditation. I write. I talk to friends. I try to balance my thoughts out. I read. I do things. I mean, those are my ways of dealing with it because I was already hitting a mental health wall with so many things personal in our personal lives we have as well. And
Of
just
course.
I hit a massive wall. A lot of us did, and I just
Mm-hmm.
fell backwards. And I really
Yeah.
had, especially after I lost. You have a loss and grief, like I had with Bella. Everything just piled up to the front when that after that, and I just went right over.
Yeah.
And I was always bad at self-care as it is at times. Like I'm great when it comes to other people, but like self-care and self-love,
Mm-hmm.
I'm always like, oh, I'll do it later. I'll put myself on the back burner. And then I'm in the back burner, like on fire, like, help
Yeah,
me.
exactly. And then you're like, I really need the help now. Where'd that go? Yeah. And that's relatable to so many people. We put ourselves on the back burner when we feel like it's, and I think we've been conditioned this way, that we feel like we're being selfish if we give ourselves some time to ourselves to really recuperate, or even if it's 10, 15 minutes a day, that you find meditation is what that is for you, or writing music or writing in a journal. I mean, sometimes just writing gibberish, what comes out, what flows out is enough. Just something that is a way of expressing yourself, um, without going down the wrong way of it. I just wish that people would give themselves more time and know that you're worth it to have that and deserve that. We all are. And we need to have that more in our society, saying that and acknowledging that, because it's only going to help us further. I mean, we need to do what the Europeans do more of, taking time for ourselves, not thinking that taking time is laziness, because it's not. It is absolutely not that. It's the opposite. It's only going to give you more energy and more fuel to go after and what you need to do for work or for your personal reasons. It's about what works for you and finding what works for you. That's going to help. But we all need it, and we all deserve it. Absolutely.
We absolutely do. And I mean, we could talk about these topics all day. And I know
Yeah.
that, Instagram now is back to, first it was like they cut you off in an hour and we were all like rushing to say goodbye before it cuts off. Then it went to 4 hours and we were like, woo,
Oh, did it?
I
Wow.
actually the whole 4 hours on BKO one time. But it was with my
Wow, that's awesome.
it was with my nieces, as they are little advocates. And
Oh,
and their kids. And then when the kids went to bed, we sat and had like a family night, and we literally used that 4 hours.
that is awesome. I love that.
Love that I said it. We called it like BKO family night, and we literally
The familia. I love it. Yes. Now that's exactly the cool thing about this tech, is when you can do things like that.
Yeah, back to an hour though. But now now we have three people. We can have like three more people on. You can have like four people on.
Wow.
So
I mean, we should do that sometime. We gotta get my girl Nidia. She's on right now. She's great with this. So we have to talk sometime. But like, yeah, it's about like getting maybe 4 people on and really having a good panel discussion about these things that we all can address. That's awesome. I love that idea. I haven't seen that yet.
you can kind of have like panel discussions.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about using it for that and also fundraising.
Absolutely.
I figure, like, when I do these Zoom calls, it's like something different is I could say, okay, well, I have to be there because I monitor everything. So you could do a live with them and I'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
What? You can
Yeah.
bet. Oh, my allergies. You can
bet.
bet
Yeah.
a lot. You can bid. You can bet.
You can bet it all.
Gamble. You can gamble. You can bid on doing a live with somebody that, one of your favorite people or one of the people like advocates that we have here. So
absolutely
option, but I do love I also like the panel idea. So I'm working on getting doing some of those. It's funny you brought it up, but yeah, I'm definitely working on doing just to get like a whole discussion and different perspectives, diverse perspectives, which I do anyway, but I think it's interesting to do it all at once.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Almost like
as long as we have audio is okay and we can hear each other, then yeah, it'd be great. What's up? They need to update that. I think it's just their algorithm or something. Like they're working on it. All this competition now.
Sometimes you have a great day on Instagram Live, and then sometimes and it's just like I've had it where I've had to restart them like 3 times, but
show must go on.
It has to. I think one of the things that I always like to stress towards the end of these conversations is give each other grace. Let people understand that we all make mistakes. Not everything. Be careful how you use words, especially bully. Fight friends is not bullying unless there's actually bullying involved, and it's on a consistent basis. It's not, I curse my friend out. Fight. That's not bullying. People curse each other out all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I know we have Italian backgrounds. It's like, that's love at certain points. And then we come to the conclusion of saying, look, that was messed up. I'm sorry. Taking accountability and saying, I love you, you know, and just making that point matter for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, look, in Italian families, you could scream each other's heads off. It's like, oh, I love you. And
yeah.
you'd be like,
that's why I'm being real with you. I'm being real with you because I love you. That's what it means, you know? But again, communication for different people in different ways.
Like I said, this is where things come in to where people have to understand everything is different for people, you know, in background, all that stuff. So I feel that people need to, in situations that are not where, you know, like even words like homophobic, there's so many words thrown around at people that are strangers on the internet, and people throwing around words that are just so blatantly inappropriately used and incorrectly used. And even like I've seen people from those specific communities and people like saying, no, I'm not taking offense to that. Stop using those words. Phobic that, you're phobic this. It's like, stop with all the stuff already. It's like,
don't use it as a word as being like just throwing it out. Like, use it in its actual content if you're actually using it for correct, you know, like you can't just, I know what you mean. It's just easy to do that. It's easy to throw things out instead of really, again, dividing your attention to understand what it means, being blunt and being to the point.
Exactly. And this is why we have to give each other grace. We have to allow people to be human, to make mistakes. We have to allow people to grow. Because they did or said something 10 years ago doesn't mean they're still that same person. Take the time to figure it out. Bullies can be rehabilitated. You know, I believe in rehabilitation, and I think that we see people be rehabilitated. I've seen it. I've done it. I've worked with people that, you know, so I just think we need to give each other a little bit more grace sometimes, understanding, take a breath, take a step back, allow people to be human instead of throwing all these labels around when you really don't know people. So, unless it's absolutely obvious, and it's absolutely obvious.
Of course.
Question.
Again, common sense. Please use it.
Right.
So,
you know.
Or again, ask who, what, where, when, and why, and how. And when you get those answers, critical thinking and research comes down to, oh, well, you're leaning towards, that's white supremacy, or that's racism, or that's, you know, that's actually attacking. You know, really do your research and do your best to do that every time as much as possible.
Absolutely. And I think that that's a great message for us to almost get the countdown and throw it off.
Okay.
And thank you so much for being on as always. And
thank you for everything.
Advocate. It was a great conversation. I mean, we could have this conversation for hours.
Yes, we could.
Instagram will not allow us to, but you know, obviously, maybe we'll do it in person because I will be in California. Maybe
you're coming to LA.
So, I hope everybody got something out of this and enjoyed it. And I will save it, and I will also upload it to YouTube once my editor edits it. And we will be talking more soon.
All right. Well, everyone take care. Have a great weekend and stay safe out there.
And everybody who celebrates Easter, happy Easter. Have a great holiday weekend if you celebrate. And everybody be kind and love big.
Send love. Spread love.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.